appears that you're targeting reinforcements in the forward line and in the back line. So Alexander Isak and Marc Guehi. What can you tell us at the situations regarding potential for them to at least become Liverpool players before the deadline?
What I can tell you is not a lot. And if someone else is going to ask that question, it's going to be the same answer. So, as I said so many times, and it's been shown on Friday as well, I could even impact the game Friday with the players we had on the bench. Federico came in, scored a goal. So it would be much nicer for us to talk about the players we have and for me. But I can also understand that you have to ask this question, but your superior probably told you, and I know what his answer is going to be.
I told my superior.
Are you? Okay. Or are you?
At the same time, what are you expecting going to Newcastle? Because obviously a lot of things have been said off the pitch, so that could potentially add to the atmosphere as well as maybe even Newcastle's motivation.
Yeah. Nothing to do with anything that's in the media a lot, but I think if you go to Newcastle, you know what to expect. We've played them 3 times last season, and twice their intensity levels were above ours. So in the away game, especially the first 60 minutes, they were so intense. They were fully deserved, had the lead, and in the League Cup final, they were more intense than us as well. So I don't think they need anything to add for them being intense if they play at St James's Park. It is, yeah, they play at St James's Park. So yeah, it's apart from the intensity, it's a very good team. They have also a team that can make it a fight, if you want to call it like this. They have players for this, but they also have players that are so comfortable on the ball. So one of the best teams in the league, and one of the most difficult away games that you can have in a season, especially, as you say it here, under the lights. Yeah, under the lights. So yeah.
And what difference can Ryan Gravenberch coming back make to your overall solidity?
I think a lot. At least if he's the same player as he was last season, that could help us a lot. If you just simply look at the second goal we conceded, they could just go from one side, from the 18-yard box to the other side, without being attacked, which was smart because Virgil and Ibu needed to go back because it was a 4-2 situation. But I think if you look back at last season and everything, single time he played, Ryan would have been in that position, and for him not being there, and us playing with very good players, but very attacking-minded players. That, for example, hurt us in that goal, and that wasn't the first time where we lacked a player in that position in the counter-attack for the other team. So, normally, if he brings his normal level, it would definitely help us to have him back again.
Hi, Arne, just a word on the fitness of the squad. Is there any news about Frimpong and Bradley's fitness?
Yeah. Connor trained for a few minutes with us today for the first time. And medical team was completely right about Jeremy to tell me that I had to take him off because he's out till the end of the international break. And that happened in the game. So I think I got criticized a bit by taking him off, didn't I? Yeah. And I've already said immediately after the game, this had nothing to do with how we played, but that we felt that he had an issue in his hamstring. And with we, I don't mean me, but the medical staff, and they were completely right. So good call to take him off. Otherwise, he would have maybe been out for longer, and we expect to have him back after the international break.
And the most sort of recent signing, Giovanni, how's he looked in training, and when do you think he could be involved?
Now, he's a good-looking guy, so as most Italians. He's trained with us 3 times now, I think. If you look at his transfer fee, you can expect that he's already quite grown up for his age, and that's exactly what I saw. So he comes in as an 18-year-old, just playing with his new teammates as if he's here for longer. Impressive if you look at how tall he is, fast, comfortable on the ball. So, there's a reason why we paid the transfer fee as we did, because we see him as a bright prospect. Yeah. Is that a good English? And he had already 3 good sessions, but it also tells you something about the team. If you come to this club, if you come into this team, you feel at ease from the start, because it's a very good and nice group to start your Liverpool career in.
How big a concern is that right back area for you now? Because you mentioned Conor Bradley doing some training, Joe Gomez has had his injury problems as well, now Jeremy Frimpong. All of a sudden it looks like you were well stocked in that area, but are you concerned about the fitness and how sort of the records have been with the others that might be fit?
No, Jeremy has a very positive injury record. Conor has been out once or twice last season. Yeah, these things happen in a season. We only have at the moment 2 injuries. Unfortunately, it's 2 for the same position. But the good thing is that some other player can play in that position as well. Wata played in that position for a few minutes. Dominic Szoboszlai already played in that position. So there are other options we can explore. Joe Gomez is definitely one of them, but for him to already play 20 minutes, that was already quite a lot. I wouldn't say he had a setback, but he wasn't able to train 3 days in a row completely with the team, which is completely normal if you're out for so long and all of a sudden the manager needs you for 20 minutes. But he's training with the team, so let's see where he is on Monday, if he can be involved in the team or if he can even start. But there are other options we have as well in this position. It's just, you cannot prepare for 2 injuries in one position. It would be stupid for us to have 3 fullbacks or 5 left backs, although we have 3 left backs at the moment. So we're unlucky that the right fullbacks are injured. Yeah.
And you briefly mentioned it before, Chiesa, what a moment for him coming off the bench to get his goal against Bournemouth. Do you see him as having a bit more of a role to play this season? I know injuries hampered him last season. Do you think he'll have a more significant role in your team this time?
Yeah, if he's more available, then he has already more chances to impact our results or his playing time. So yeah. But then it's about him staying as fit as he is at the moment. So I see a totally different Federico now than through large parts of last season, which is completely normal because he missed out on the whole pre-season and then comes into a Premier League rhythm in terms of amount of games and in terms of intensity. So he's in a much better place now. And as we can all see, when we needed a goal and I looked at the bench, I only had him and Rio, a 16-year-old, as attacking options. So, yeah, for me, although Rio did really well in pre-season, it was quite a normal choice to make to bring him in, and he delivered.
You obviously don't want to talk about specifics in terms of players coming in, but you mentioned maybe that lack of options in terms of attacking players coming on. Is it going to be a busy couple of weeks in terms of adding to your squad depth before the window closes?
No, I don't think so, because then I should be unhappy with the squad we're having, and I'm very, very happy about the squad we are having. So I've always said maybe having 2 per position is ideal, but I prefer less than more, because you have to disappoint so many players every single time for them not even being in a squad, let alone not playing. So yeah, really happy with the squad. But as always, if we think we can improve in a certain position and there's a player available that can really make us better, which you could see with Giovanni Leoni, it's then this club has always shown that they bring these players in, but only if everything is what we want. So the right transfer fee, the right player, the right position, and the player that wants to come to us.
Well,
hi Arne, you've spoken previously about the difficulty of changing so many players in the starting 11 and perhaps the influence that's maybe had on some of the defensive structures. It's rare to have 10 days between games in the Premier League, even at this stage of the season. How helpful has that been to be able to get more time with the players on the training pitch and maybe kind of drill some of the structures a little bit more?
No, of course it's helpful. But we did have a good pre-season. We had 6 weeks compared to last season where we only had 2. Yeah, we had 6 weeks as well, but only 2 with most of the players. So we've had our time to train already, and I think that's also what you could see against the Bournemouth game, because it was if you look at data, running stats, it was the most intense game that is played in the weekend. So that tells you that our match fitness is where we want it to be and where we need it to be if you need to go to Newcastle, by the way. But it's also clear that in pre-season, and that's what I said, I mixed up lineups, and then it's quite normal that you don't see every time the right connection between some players or some lines. But that was already very good against Bilbao and okay to good against Palace and Bournemouth.
Another thing about having new players in, I noticed that against Bournemouth and in fact then the second goal against Crystal Palace, they all came after double substitutions in quite soon after making double changes. So is maybe getting used to the reorganising and getting used to some of the demands for those new players, is that maybe going to eradicate some of those issues as well?
Now, most changes I've made in a game are due to match fitness, and players were not available in whole preseason. So Hugo Ekitike, for example, that I took off twice, needs to make a step from Bundesliga to Premier League, and missed out a part of preseason. So, and you want to keep him fit for the upcoming games, weeks, months as well. It's the same with McAllister, who was not able to start, in my opinion, yet against Palace. But I think he needed playing time. It's the same why I started him against Bournemouth. Was he already on the top of his level? No. But to get there, he needs playing time. So I had to take him off. Now, I just spoke about Jeremy, who comes from a different league. And so, yeah, you need to take this into account, although that's sometimes difficult for a fan or a pundit, because they're like, you need to win this game. Yeah, we need to win this game, but we need to keep them fit for the rest of the season as well. And we do have players on the bench that are equal to the ones that start. So then you need to use your squad. So I see it as a coincidence that we've conceded our goals after the substitutions. But time will tell if I'm right or wrong. But on the other hand, we also scored a goal after a substitution. 2, by the way, from Federico and Mo.
Last one was Carl.
Hi Arne. You've spoken about Newcastle and how difficult the atmosphere will be there, but as a club they've got a few issues at the moment in terms of, you haven't got the transfers they probably wanted, their star striker is missing. Does that make it easier for you in a way to go there, knowing that they've got a club with troubles?
No, I don't think they're a club of troubles. They had a very good start of the season against Villa. Good game for them. I think they were able to get more out of the game than the 1 point they got. So it's not only difficult, or it's mainly difficult because of the players they're having there, not only because of the fans. But the atmosphere is great, like it is at Anfield. So we are used to a certain environment. But St James's Park is, if I just remember last season, where it was an evening game, by the way, as well. The atmosphere was amazing, and it will be the same. But why is the atmosphere amazing? Because the players can perform. They can add to the atmosphere by being as intense as they were, bringing the quality as they brought in that game. So that's going to be the challenge. The challenge is of course also playing in a stadium where the fans will be there for the home team. And that always helps every home team, I can tell you about us. So the last 15 to 20 minutes at Anfield, it wasn't a coincidence that we scored twice, because the fans helped us in that moment of time. But if you only have fans and you don't have the players, then you can forget it. So the main thing we have to be ready for are their midfielders, their last line, their free forwards. And although I assume, I'm not sure, but I assume Isak is not playing from what I read in the media. But they still have Anthony Gordon as a 9. They still have Elanga as a right winger, and Barnes from the left. And then Jacob Murphy isn't even playing, who was very good against us twice last season. So this is the Premier League. We all have a lot of options, and Newcastle have them as well.
Just finally for me then. You won your first game 4-2. It was a great night. Were you surprised by some of the criticism you got after that game?
Did I? What was it?
But just in terms of, sort of maybe the way your side approached it. There was people saying you're too open, you're more open than last season. Or is that just the high bar that the team set for itself as champions?
Of course, that has something to do with the bar we set. And I agree, we were at moments too open. First goal was, I think, mainly unlucky that we lost the ball in a position we shouldn't lose it. And then we were 3 against 3, which is normally not a problem, but we had a disadvantage to our opponents, Ibu and Robbo. Second goal is definitely being too open. So if all your free midfielders are inside the box, and we were just talking about Ryan, that's too open. So I agree on that. But also the reason why we scored the 3-2, that it was one of our midfielders, Curtis Jones, arrived in the box, what made it difficult for the goalkeeper. Ball fell to Federico. So it's also who we are, but we need to find the right balance by not being too open. But that balance will be better with Ryan. Unfortunately, if you want to judge me or us, we now have to play Newcastle and Arsenal, who are normally teams that are going to be above Bournemouth in the league. So it's even harder to play against them. But with Marc being back, with Ryan in his normal position, I expect us to be even better prepared for the counter attack than we were in this 2-2 moment, because I've watched the game, I think, twice back, and I don't think there's, apart from the 2 goals, where especially the second one is a counter-attack, I don't think there were many other counter-attacks from Bournemouth. But yeah, if it leads to a goal, it's of course a big story. And for us, conceding 2, that's too much in a home game. So yeah, that's too open now.
Thank you, guys.
You're welcome.